Me Too or not to Me Too? We've got Jaclyn Marfuggi in the studio to help us answer that question. We've also got our game, We Like the Jersey Turnpike, and our nightcap, Jersey Juice, tonight on It's Complicated.
You're listening to It's Complicated with your hosts Jennifer Golden and Lauren Leonelli, coming to you live from the AfterBuzz TV studios in Los Angeles, California.
Hey everyone, welcome back for another episode of It's Complicated.
The struggle is real when you're dating in the city.
I'm Jen.
And I'm Lauren, and tonight we are going to talk about how Me Too and Time's Up, the movements, they're helping women, but could the uprising be causing some harm as well?
Well, we've got our friend Jaclyn Marfuggi in the studio to help us get to the bottom of it all. She's an actress, she's a comedian, she's a sassy Jersey girl, and she's a self-proclaimed sporty spice girly girl at heart. And you can watch her do stand-up, you can work out with her, or you can just watch her work out
or that.
At her Plyo Jam fitness class. And you can listen to her hilarious podcast, What's Your Jersey?, where you can hear Jaclyn dish about comedy, sports, dating, food, relationships, pop culture, and fitness. It's an honest, funny meatball of energy, like her.
But before we get into this, we need a drink. So we are drinking red wine, which we've appropriately renamed Jersey Juice, because what goes better with a little Italian meatball straight off the boat from the motherland, or Jersey, close enough. And what goes better with that than a good, nice glass of red wine? Nothing. I mean, hello. No. So we can't think of a better combo, and we're excited to pair this with our spicy Italian meatball, and we're going to drink some Jersey Juice, so cheers to the Jersey Juice.
It's a Gato Negro, Cabernet Sauvignon.
The black cat?
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. So while not Italian at all, Spanish.
It's
close.
But again, it's all in the same vicinity, so
yes.
It counts. And Jaclyn, welcome to the
thanks
studio.
for stopping by.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate you splurging on the Italian adjacent wine.
I know, it's
Anytime.
adjacent.
It's definitely
whatever.
And it's twist off. For easy access.
Yes.
Easy. We love that.
Mm-hmm.
I always say the best things to happen to alcoholism since the twist off wine cap are Uber and Lyft.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you for incorporating a joke.
Oh, my
of
God.
mine.
I love it.
Anytime.
We try. We love to set that up for you.
Yeah.
And before we get into all of the meat of the meatball, we need to talk.
Oh,
Yeah.
break it down.
Nothing is more relaxing than when someone looks you right in the eye and says that, right? I mean, it's like totally what you want to be welcomed into the studio
Shut
with.
down.
Our listeners confront us every week with questions, and that like most people kind of like to avoid, or that make people look nervous, and kind of like you avoid your ex's Instagram story because they can see when you watch.
Oh, avoid it? No.
You're
I
like,
put my crazy right out there.
You're like, I
No
just do
shame.
it.
Or you create a different Instagram name and stalk like a professional.
Obviously.
Come on.
Listen
Well,
to that.
I actually am going to one-up that and say that I think there needs to be secret female collectives where it's a shared account. So you and your girlfriends have one account to spy from. So you're not each going through the same process of it's a joint stalkership. So it's kind of not one of you is a stalker. You all are doing something.
But then are you
It's
giving-
a movement, in fact. A stalking movement.
Okay.
Time's up. Gonna
Time's
see
up.
what you're doing.
Are you giving your girlfriends the information then?
To log in? Of course you are.
No, but then if you see something, you're like,
See something, say something.
I think that is exactly what you should do. I'm a girl's girl. I am on your team, and I'm going to tell you what is up.
yeah.
Yeah.
I
Right?
like that. I
so
like that.
I don't have to find out about it when I'm home alone at 2 o'clock in the morning scrolling. I'd rather have the
Yeah.
comfort zone of a friend being like, hey, listen.
Yeah.
I don't want you to look right now, but I'm just going to prep you.
Yeah.
That's easier.
That's
So much
better.
easier.
That's
nicer.
You can stalk together. Why stalk alone?
It's more gentle. Okay, this week's question comes from Becca in New Jersey. She wants to know what are good date questions to ask on a first date to get to know somebody that are appropriate, but not too intrusive, but they also are telling of information.
Yeah, not dumb things that are just to make conversation, but things that you actually garner what their personality's like. You sort of
Yeah.
like get through the clutter a little bit quicker. Like
Yeah.
if you're good at reading between the
Yeah.
lines and things,
Yeah,
and you
yeah.
can pick up on these things. So some of them are, how do you spend your free time? Or like that same one would be like, what's one thing that you're looking forward to next week? Because you can get a lot from like what they do with their free time. If
yeah,
they're
their
like,
plans.
I black out every night, you're like, check please.
Yeah.
Or if they're like,
No.
I'm really looking forward to this trip I've been planning for a long time. I don't know what the hell they're doing, but it doesn't matter.
Something,
Hopefully it's
yeah.
something of substance that you like.
Yeah.
And not something stupid. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I've got 7 dates next week. How about you?
Yeah.
Oh no!
Oh my God,
I
can you
think
imagine?
take a cue from Rachel Green on Friends.
Oh.
When her and Joey went on a date, do you remember her like
Wait,
showing him
the
her
tell?
move?
Yeah.
And she like put her hand on his hand. She was like, "Tell me about like your childhood," you know.
And they just open right up, and he's like, I didn't even know I was doing it.
Yes, like you just gotta kind of open them up.
So what is
Yeah.
do you have one of those things that you do?
No, I copy her 100%.
Right. Why
No.
reinvent the wheel?
No, it's great. And then what did you love to do then? And then that opens up all the activities. People like to talk about themselves.
Sure.
It's true.
Oh, yeah.
But it's kind of nice to do something from the past because then you get to know like where they came from and that's
Yep.
like nice.
Oh, yeah.
Totally.
Some other ones, like, if you want to, some people are, like, not okay with talking about dating and, like, relationship history on
Yeah.
the first date. I'm like, fuck it. Let's get right
Are
to
you
it.
fine with it?
Yeah, especially,
Ooh.
listen, when people also, like, find out that, like, we have this show, they're like, are you an expert? What do you know? Tell me everything. What is it like? Do you talk about me on the air? Like, what do
So
you do?
they're already getting
Right.
into it anyway, so you might as well just
So
Put it out
then
there.
something you might want to ask is, what's the first date you've ever been on?
Ooh, I love that.
Because
the worst date.
Yeah, because you're not saying the best, because clearly it should be the one you're on right
yeah,
now.
Yeah.
current
But the
sitch.
worst, it's fun because it's like you're trashing other experiences.
And you're bonding then.
Right.
Yeah.
over the crazy.
Jokes involved.
And then you learn what somebody else doesn't like.
doesn't like.
Yes.
And then you know not to do it.
Right.
Because there's so
guys are
many
good at
things
this.
to do, but then if you're like, don't do, it's easier to like be
Right.
like, okay, don't do that.
Girls have to, you kind of have to teach or coach a guy on how to date you.
I
Yeah.
agree.
Right?
I
think
agree.
that's really important because I made the mistake a lot of not really speaking up about certain things that I didn't like. I would always just talk about what I liked. And you also have to
Okay.
let guys know what you're not into.
Yeah.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know?
Yeah, and
Give them a little map.
I think it's hard, or it can feel harder for me knowing that, like, as you get into your 30s, and we talk about this a lot, like we feel more like we know what we want, and so we're able to do it or say it somehow. But I think I used to be nervous that if I said what I don't like, or even sometimes like was very obvious about what I do like, it felt like I was being a bitch. Like I was like, yeah, do this or don't do that. Like I was nervous that that's how it was going to come off. But I think
And
Well, if you wrap it in a
we-
story about someone else, you're not saying directly, I don't like when you do this, but I will not like it if you do this. Because I
Totally.
hated
Exactly.
it that guy did it.
But I think now I feel as though like that's a good quality, that to know what you like and don't like. It's obviously the deliverance is probably part of it, but like
Yeah.
it's not, that's like an attractive thing.
And there's a whole book series called Why Men Love Bitches.
Yep.
So even if you come off a little bitchy, I think it's okay. Everyone needs a little push.
I agree.
I think it's like sass never hurt anybody.
It's part of the training.
Yay.
Yeah, right?
It works. And it's more fun that way.
Yeah.
Well, also it's
Right?
like personality, and no one likes somebody with no personality.
No. And I'm not, we're again not talking about being an asshole. Don't
No.
be an asshole.
No.
But just kind of live your life and
Yeah.
be like, yeah, I like this. I don't like that. Whatever. Like, get on my playing field or get
Or
out.
don't. Or guess what? That's what makes the world go round. Like, just because I don't like something, unless it's like some moral thing, like, it's fine if I'm not going to join you when you go fucking surfing. Like, go ahead. Go
Totally.
surfing. Like,
See ya,
I'm going to
enjoy.
go get my nails done.
Right, like now I have so much
whatever.
time to do Hallmark movies.
You both are killing it in the nail game. I was having nail envy before we came
I
in
mean,
here.
I like yours too. Mine, yeah. These
My grown out gels.
It's
These
like-
are from pre-Christmas.
Well,
What?
they're
I
beautiful.
know.
They're
That
beautiful.
long.
It's a Jersey gel. That's why.
Oh, well, that's got to be like made of some kind of crazy concoction.
Yes, 100%.
We-
Cement.
Yes.
Perfect.
And probably Aquanet
Formaldehyde.
hairspray.
Yeah. No, you know what I've learned? I've tried so many different hairsprays, and I was stuck on that gold bottle by L'Oreal.
I have that
yeah.
Elnet.
Every style- yeah, I'm over it. It stopped working on my hair, and now I switched to Dry Bar hairspray, and that's been helping
Oh,
me out.
good.
And
It also
love-
smells so good.
Every girl loves the way it smells. It's so funny. If
You
you want to
guys-
create friendships, just wear Dry Bar products.
Hold on.
Because
You're-
they'll sniff you and be
Yes.
like, you too?
You're gonna stop being my friend. I don't like the way it smells,
Oh,
and
well,
I
who
know
invited
I'm
you?
the only one.
It's okay.
I don't like
No,
it.
it's not.
No.
You know what? Somebody was parked in front of the studio today, and they had their fucking foot on the brake for too long.
Yeah.
And I thought it was you, but it wasn't.
Oh, I think it was me.
No, I don't know
It was
who it was.
definitely me.
But I was like, I can't be if that's Jen Golden, I can't be her friend. So guess what? Now we're not friends.
Oh.
Jaclyn, you want to be
know.
my new best
Except
friend?
it was Jaclyn all along.
See,
so
since like I'm her new best friend, it's still okay that I fucked up with my foot on the
It's
brake.
Totally fine. You have
It
about
is
a week
totally fine.
until
But
it's another new best
to
friend.
get back to Becca, because there's something else that we need to,
Yes.
another one good thing, one good piece of advice, that one good question that you can ask that I think is going to be good is, where did you grow up? And this kind of like ties into you because you are a very proud like Jersey girl. Your podcast is about that and where people grew up and what that is, how that tells about, you know, the like fabric of their lives. So I think that is also a really good question. And we're going to play a game a little bit later that kind of has to do with that. And it's a question that gets asked a lot. And I think it's actually an overlooked question. I think it's a very good question to ask.
Yeah, it seems very rudimentary, but at the same time, where did you grow up? Did you like living there? Do you go home often? Like, do you like seasons? Like, there's 1,000 like spin-off questions.
Well, that's like with joke writing, you kind of compare it to like you start it with like the seed of a tree. And you have the main concept of a joke. And then it stems and you have all these other stories and mini jokes that are the branches of the tree. I think it's very similar to dating and having conversations with human beings.
For
Like,
sure.
You have a main topic and then that's where you branch off onto all the other topics. So I think
Yes.
that's a perfect one.
My favorite is
yeah.
going on a date and like you like forget where you started in the conversation, but you end up like 17 conversations later and you're like, oh my
Yes.
God, we didn't even answer the first question.
But that's good because it feels like there's so
Yeah.
much to talk about and there's a level of excitement that's propelling the
Totally.
next thing, and it's like hard to keep.
And you know you'll
on.
never be bored with that person because they have they're curious. And I think that's super important on a date. Like I've like given up when someone's like, they don't have like follow-up questions. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
It's just awkward.
Because I have a lot to say.
So although we just gave some like really good questions to ask, I think that's an important thing to pay attention to is sometimes you can ask the right questions or you can dig just deep enough to start to get someone to open up and talk, but there's also a level of like natural chemistry that needs to occur and you need to pay attention to that. So whilst it might be good to drive the conversation and know what to say, that helps. At the end of the day, even if you're asking these questions and there's still shit that you don't feel is like, you're like, what? Then it's just not, probably pay attention to that because it's probably just not right. So Jaclyn, no, Becca. From New Jersey, also,
What up,
where
Becca?
Jaclyn's from.
Good luck.
Please just pay attention to the chemistry. That's what I think.
I agree.
Well, one of my favorite TV shows is Better Things with Pamela Alden. I think that's how you say
Oh, I
her
don't
name.
even know what that is.
FX, it's so good.
Ooh.
Yes. And this ties into Me Too. 'Cause
The
it
campaign.
was produced by Louis C.K.
Oh.
And she had the same agents, everyone, they were all producing it together, and she dropped everyone, and they are still producing the series. She's nominated for all these awards. But there's a whole scene where she's sitting next to this couple on a first date, and the guy goes to the bathroom, and she moves over, and she's like, he didn't ask one fucking question about you.
Like, wake up.
Yeah. And
From
the
a
guy-
bird's eye.
Oh my God. And the guy sits back down and she's like, I'm going to finish eating lunch with your date because you don't care about her. And so you gotta be careful about
Yeah.
that.
Well, I wonder sometimes if like people, if they don't ask questions because they don't care or because the other person is just so like, like they're volunteering so much information they don't necessarily feel like they have to. Like I tend to offer a lot of information and you don't have to ask me questions. It would be nice if you did or if you showed you cared, but I
Right,
can
that's a
totally
good point.
But also like some people just don't have the right questions. Like maybe Becca is like, I don't know what to ask. Like I want to know things, but also I'm like, what should I ask? What shouldn't I ask?
There's so many moving parts, and yes, consider that. If you're doing a lot of talking, and not in like a weird way, but like you're more open, you have a lot to offer up, maybe you're less nervous dating, maybe you're less nervous talking, like all these things come into play. But also, I hate to say it, but like if the conversation is just going to flow because there's some extra level of unexplained chemistry that has nothing to do with the fucking question or not, like then it is what it is. Like
Again, also, if you're not good at dating and like you go through first dates and they don't go well, maybe you do need to like A, keep listening to our show, and B, like ask yourself, like, what am I not doing on dates that maybe I could be doing better? Like maybe ask questions. Like maybe you're too shy. Maybe you need to open up. Maybe you need to fucking take the stick out of your ass.
Or not go on a date and just, I don't know what, do whatever.
Me
but
too,
if
yourself.
you,
Always put yourself out there.
I
think you
agree.
should
Do
keep
what
going.
scares you, especially coming
Yeah.
from the stand-up comedian over here. That's like the most terrifying thing you could possibly ever fucking do. I would never. You couldn't even. No, sorry.
What?
No.
You could do it.
I would do it if somebody wrote it for me.
I would never.
You could write it.
No,
I know you could
I
write
don't.
it.
Maybe if
I
I had a
would never.
guide doing it with me and
guide
holding
dog?
my hand.
A guide dog?
Because I am blind and can't see how to write.
Do you want me to hold your hand on
Yeah.
stage?
Well-
I'll go up on stage. Will I remember what I was supposed to say? Probably not. It was like a stretch even saying your introduction. But
Whatever.
I thought you played that,
Well,
actually.
Thank
you
you.
guys at home, if you have any questions, just contact us on the socials at Complicated Show, and you can ask all the questions and make all the comments and follow and like and double tap and make us feel good about ourselves.
and we'll answer your questions
And
so
we'll
you
answer
can be
your
better
questions.
daters and relationshipers, just like some of us in here.
All right, now we're gonna get into this Me Too Time's Up movement topics here.
Yeah, we've been addressing this like forever since it
Because
started.
it just keeps happening, and it's like you can't, every time you fucking turn your phone on, it's like, and now Anna Wintour is like,
Right.
fuck you, Mario Testino. Like,
Yeah.
Every day.
Every day. You can't, like, we're even putting together this outline, we, like, started with, like, one talking point, and we're like, wait a second, there's 4 more
There's
stories that
I
came out.
probably-
haven't heard the Anna Wintour
Oh,
thing.
we'll get there. But
Oh,
so
God.
here's the thing. Like, we've been covering it because we cover what's going on in, like, news and stuff, at least that we find interesting. And while it's, like, a little more, I don't know, hard-hitting news than we, like, normally talk about, I would say.
Yeah.
It pertains to dating now.
Oh, for
Because
sure.
let's just dive right in. Okay, so, like, Aziz. We have to talk about Aziz. And then we will talk about
That's
these
like
French
the
girls.
newest. That's like the
but
newest one.
This is the newest one.
Unless in the last 5 minutes there's been 20 other men, which there
could have been.
probably is.
Totally. But so, like, also in the comedian world, like, you know,
Yeah.
okay, I'm going to, just some background. Aziz was called out by a girl that had relations with him back in September of last year. What she came out and said was she can't stand by him, like, wearing a Time's Up pin and presenting himself as this guy when he actually took advantage of me. So she then unleashes her, like, text message thread with him and tells this one news outlet about her encounter with him where she felt completely violated because she kept saying, like, no, I'm not comfortable with that. No, I'm not comfortable with that. She was in his home and she felt like she didn't know what to do because she kept trying to vocalize what she wanted and didn't want, and she was like, slow down, all of these things.
Yeah.
And he still would, like, pursue and pursue and pursue, and, like, he was, like, relentless. And so then she, like, left, and then the next day he texted her, like, saying, like, hey, last night was so fun. Like, it was nothing. Like, oh, I got these cameras or this camera roll, and it's great shots. And that was the end of it. And she was like, actually, that was not the end of it. I wrote him all the stuff.
And she wrote, like, while you may have been having fun, it wasn't fun for me.
Right. And she's like, you were really persistent. You kept putting my hand on your pee-pee and all these things. And so, no. So what do you think about this? Because you actually recently posted about this.
I did. And disclaimer, I will say this. I have met Aziz. I've been at his house before. And he was nothing but a perfect gentleman around me. And he actually seemed very shy. And reading this story, I was just like, I honestly...
From your impression.
From my impression. And we, like, went out and we went to a bar, and he was so just contained into himself. And this was before Master of None. This was probably when he was writing his book. So he had a few specials under his belt. I have a lot of friends that are friends with him. And just this article seemed very out of character. What I thought about the article, their first interaction was her going up to him, and she said he brushed her off. And then this was at an award show.
The Golden
like,
Globes,
after a
actually,
party.
I think last year.
Last
No,
year.
Emmys.
The Emmys. And from the beginning, not to call her thirsty, I don't know what anyone's, intentions were. I don't know this girl, and I'm really sorry that all of this happened to her, and I think we have to be really careful with this
Of
subject.
course, because we're not trying to say, like,
We're not.
anybody deserves to be treated this way.
No.
Not at all. And I think a lot of us have been in similar situations.
I have.
100%, where you feel pressured into something. I don't think she was trying to get, like, actress work or anything
No.
from him, but she does state in the article that like leading up to the date, because they texted for a while, she was in New York, leading up to the date, she texted all her girlfriends, she was asking for outfit ideas. During the date, she was taking pictures of their food at dinner, and like kind of it seemed more about being with a celebrity and being like on a cool date.
It could
in a
read
cool
that
place.
way by those
That's
actions.
what
Sure.
it read to me like. Also, she states that they went back to the apartment immediately, and he like went down on her. She went down on him. He went down on her. Like all the things kept progressing.
Right.
I am very old school with my stuff. I'm a scaredy cat. My main squeeze right now, I did not step foot in his car, in his house, anything until our 4th date. I Ubered. I met him. That's just how I am. And
Yeah.
I think from here on out, that's how women should be. I don't think you should. It's not the same. It's not the 50s. Your guy can't come and pick you up. That's just not the day.
There's
that we
different
live in.
rules. There's different etiquette.
And this is not as to say we now live in a world where if you think you're having a meeting with an executive, you're not allowed to go in a hotel room. I understand that to be a woman, that's a shitty thing to be like, I'm supposed to be meeting with an executive and it happens to be in a hotel room where my agent has set this up. Like, I shouldn't feel unsafe about that. But I do think there's so much gray area about this. And I do think if you're I've been in the position before. I've been out with a guy who I knew and he was very persistent and it happened more than once. That is his sexual personality probably.
Yeah.
Did he rape me or doing anything inappropriate? No. I wasn't comfortable with the way he advanced on me, and I finally vocalized it. Like after, because it's kind of awkward. Like someone's like touching you or doing things, and you're kind of like, I don't know. But to me, if you're gonna like be still engaging in sexual activity whilst being like no, that is it's a mixed message.
Just
Right.
run out.
Okay, so-
get out.
Or just say, stop doing what you're doing. No, I do not want this. Move off of me. Like, be very
she
fucking
just
clear.
didn't seem very clear
No,
or firm.
Okay, and so that's where like I feel very like I think this is an unfortunate story, and like we've covered so many. I mean, they're just like some are legitimate and
But
or
why
like
do you
totally
think?
legitimate.
Hold
and,
on.
like,
But why do you think this girl was unclear? And I'm gonna press the argument forth of sometimes it can feel awkward, but also like, do you think in your mind, I'm just going to say this could be a possibility. She's like, I really want to be liking this, but I don't. It's Aziz Ansari. I really want to be liking this, but I feel uncomfortable. I'm trying to make myself, I don't want to tell him no because I want him to like me because he's famous. So I don't want to piss him off. But like, sorry, if you don't like something, I'm not saying
I
that's
don't know
what
about
she
the fame
did.
thing, but I will say I've been in a situation where like I like was hanging out with a guy and then like he was like, let's go back to my house for a drink, and in my head I'm thinking we're going back to his house for a drink. I'm not thinking a drink means anything other than a drink.
Right.
I use my words, I mean my words. It's like I don't understand why with the male sex, for whatever reason, they hear one thing and they think it's a clue for something else, but it is not. And I think that it's not always the case that that's the case, but it is more often than not, because I've had more often than not, someone be like, well, I thought that's what you meant. I'm sorry. When I said, I'm a really deliberate person.
Yes.
So if I say this, that's what this is. If you
And
want
you
to come
expect
in
the
and meet
same
my
thing.
dog, you literally meet my dog and you then see yourself out.
But
you
can
are
I
not
say-
staying the night.
But
It
the
is-
societal myth, if you subscribe to it, of men are the aggressors. Men, you have to play hard to get because they're the ones who should be making the first move on the dating app. I'm not gonna no. You come to me. You do the work. You do the. Then they think when you wink or when you touch my knee, that's a cue. When I say coming up for a drink, I'm the aggressor. I'm the it's the
Like you're
old
giving the
caveman thing
Yeah, it
where
is.
they. And I don't think that if you say something, you should mean another thing. I'm just saying, also think about that. Think about the fact that the men are supposed to ask the women out. The men are supposed to pay for the first 3 dates. The men are supposed to do all these things. So they're supposed to just know to take charge and ask you out and be the man, if you will.
And I think, honestly, men are, I hate to say this, but it's evolution. They are hunters. They
Right,
like
that's what I'm-
to
a hunter,
seek
that's
you
what I
out.
was-
And they
yes.
will push I think personally, they will push until like if they
Until
at least
they can't
if they're-
anymore.
right? And like
Yeah.
I don't necessarily blame him because she didn't up and leave. So like
Yeah.
and his response was, I had no idea this was not consensual because things did happen. It's not like he tied her up like they were saying like Russell Simmons.
That
and,
I just read that
Yeah,
article.
yeah.
And, like-
very different tone.
Totally.
What happened there?
but
Very
also
different.
it's like that girl also like went to their hotel room. Like, lady, you don't.
And
just
then
go to a
she
hotel.
proceeded to invite Brett Ratner back to hotel,
A different time, like-
back to her
Yeah.
apartment, like on another occasion
No, no.
after that happened.
I think we can all learn from this. And if a guy is going to like you for you, you could say no to going back to his apartment 10 times and he'll still like you.
Totally.
And I think it's better to just wait it out. Like, why are we in such a rush? Don't be in a rush. We're in a rush in every other aspect of our life. If you truly want to date someone, do not go to their apartment. Do not let them pick you up. Let them wait. That's the bottom line.
Yeah.
I think it sucks that that's how it has to be right now. But if you're looking for a hookup, go to the apartment. Do that, but be
Right.
in it
But
for
then,
the hookup.
but then know that that's
Right.
all. So if you then are like, I'm going out with this person and I want to do the things, then
Yeah.
do it, and then don't say afterwards that wasn't. You can't
have it
engage in
both ways.
something and then retract.
I believe me, I've learned a lot of wisdom in my 10 years of Hollywood, and I haven't always been this cut and black and white, cut and
course not.
dry. But I think before you go out with someone, you have to decide internally and know in your heart if you are prepared to sleep with them at the end of the night, because you're going to lead with those right actions or wrong actions.
Sure.
Right.
Because then there's no like, oh my God, should I?
Yeah.
If you know, then you're not going back to the house. Or you're going to be stern like you and you're going to be like, no, I'm leaving. But like, I had a great time. Bye.
Right. Yeah.
And I wasn't
That's
always
a good
like this.
point. That's a good point.
I wasn't always like this. I think they're like you go through the like whole like, oh well, this is fun. Like I don't want to like have it end. So like yeah, I'll like hang out a little bit more. Like listen, nothing. It's like Cinderella. Nothing good happens after 12.
Yes.
Take yourself home, get a dog, get some responsibility, go
Do
home.
it. Go
but
home.
The minute you step foot in a scenario that is not sort of like your territory.
Yeah,
You're not in charge.
that's-
You're
yeah.
sort of like, not that anything can happen to you and like you now are just like, this is fair game.
Oh, well, now,
But
yeah, now
you
you're
are
allowed to
sending
get it.
mixed-
Yeah.
You're sending mixed messages because
Agreed.
let's just assume, and I'm sorry, men who are listening, that they are the dumber sex and you need to guide them.
They are.
They take you coming to their house as they want to have sex with me because
Yeah,
they
she's
literally
ready.
think in terms of
But
they
they-
don't want to have sex with me, they maybe want to have sex with me, or they do want to have sex with me. You have now stepped into this person's home. He thinks you want to have sex with him.
That's what I'm saying. Pay attention to knowing those societal myths or things and your cues. We've all learned as women, and there are gender roles. There just are.
It sucks, but that's
and
how it is.
Maybe they're shifting right now, and this is why this is a problem, but they are. So you learn as a woman, if you go at a very young age, I think, as if you go out with a guy and you're like, oh, you touch his knee and you get a little close. He's gonna lean in and probably try and kiss you at some point, and you cannot fucking be. We've all done it where we're like kind of flirty, and then the guy goes for the thing. We're like, whoa, what the fuck are you doing? It's like you now know. Oh shit, I can't do that. Then
Yeah.
after that moment, you're like, as a woman, you're like, okay, don't send that message out. Don't send that cue out, because why do we think we all talk about this? Like women have a million more thoughts a day than men, and they're all like, we're so simple. Just tell us what you want, because we speak in fucking code, and they have to
Even-
decipher it. That's why this happens.
I have a joke about that where, like, with a guy, like, when you guys are doing it, you're penetrating and having fun. If you're not telling a girl, like, she's doing a good job or, like, you're really quiet, all of a sudden her brain goes to a million places and no
yeah.
one can finish.
I was gonna say no orgasm happens after
exactly.
that, motherfucker.
But, like, with guys, they are more physical creatures. They are
Totally.
about touch. They are about physical stuff. And I'm not trying to sound sexist.
No, it's
Sex
not.
six. That's the
new.
Jersey juice talking.
Yes, there it is.
I mean, it is what it is.
I agree. That's what we
That's
talk
how
about.
we're-
Jen. That's
It's
why
science, basically.
It is. And so if we, think that this Me Too, Time's Up movements are obviously blowing the lid off shit that should not be happening and that is not okay. But we want to also point out that there's like a million levels of responsibility along this journey.
Exactly.
And everyone needs to like, I think there's a lot of like blame and like people just like posting on social media to like out somebody, and then that person fucking loses their job, and every sponsor is like, nope, fuck you. Like everyone's
Yeah.
like, no, touchy.
Right. People are very quick to like do hands off because they don't want to be in bed with somebody that has a bad reputation at this point. But again, now going back to what the French women wrote in
Yeah.
this article for Le Monde newspaper or whatever, they said, first of all, everyone, it's really great that like people are having a voice and like no one should stop doing that. There's even a French movement that's like something about pork, like something about the
pigs
pig.
to the slaughterhouse, and
That-
whatever that translates into French, it sounds prettier.
It totally does, something pork. But so, no, really, PORC is what it is. But anyway,
Oh,
so
is that a restaurant? Is that new downtown?
probably
I think we
it's
should
like
start
all
one.
We should
meat
go to
and
pork.
like it's just different kinds
La
of meat.
pork.
La pork.
Avec moi.
There you go.
I don't know.
With pork with me. That's what that means.
Pork with me.
Work with me.
That's how you
If
now
I
say
went
sex.
back on a dating app, that would be my opening line. Pork avec moi.
There you go.
You're welcome.
I'm going to use that now.
Way.
Becky
Perfect.
in New Jersey.
There you go.
There you go.
Yes.
Becca.
Yes.
Becca.
But so
Ask
close.
him if he knows what pork with a C means.
Exactly, and then
That's your go-to
that's your guy.
question. There you go.
I like these women were basically saying like, sure, these movements need to happen, but it's also you don't want to run the risk of it becoming a Salem witch trial where you're just saying everybody is a witch, and now all of a sudden no one has a job. Because the minute you label anybody, there goes the sponsors. Like you were
Yeah.
talking about, like the
Stassi.
Louis C.K.
Louis
Louis
CK,
C.K.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
Stassi too. You
She
have
touched the subject. She tried to come from a certain angle. Granted, she wasn't as informed as she should be on it, but she was just voicing her opinion.
Sure.
Calling it the male witch hunt. And I think it also, honestly, it also has a boy who cried wolf thing.
Sure
where
does.
You can't
Sure
take
does.
things seriously if there's
It's
so many
also
levels
just
to it.
blurring the lines a little bit of freedom of speech, and like Stassi should be able to say what the fuck she wants. I guess then people are allowed to react, but like also it's this article that the French women wrote. It's also kind of talks about like sexual liberation, and like so you're not allowed to be a woman that's an executive and tell people what to do in an office and then go home and be the desire or muse of a man. Like what's wrong with that? Why is that
I
a bad
love
thing?
that.
Like why is that now? Be careful to not victimize yourself too hard. Be careful to not to say, hey, I'm strong and I'm powerful and I'm an executive. Oh, but no, help me. I'm a child that needs to be helped. Like, no, fucking take charge. Like,
And on the flip side, I know there's a lot of females that have also harassed men in the workplace in
1,000,000%.
Hollywood, and those stories are starting to pour out too. So I don't want people to think it's just a one-sided thing.
No, and I think that's like Me Too. I think started as more of like a female-centric thing, but Time's Up is supposed to be just anyone that has been
Yes.
abused in any way or
Yeah.
like marginalized or whatever. And I think that's great for the sense of equality. And one day, like Oprah said, we won't have to say Me Too.
Yeah.
And they both blur. But I think also it's really interesting because they're saying like, you can't just like point at somebody and be like, you did this, because essentially everyone is guilty until proven innocent. But what are these ways of proving them innocent? Because
not.
you cannot repair a reputation. My dad actually gave me one piece of advice that like was maybe it, but he said, you have one reputation, period. There was no more to that sentence
And
and
it
no
is-
less. It was just, you have one.
Yeah.
Take good care of it, because the minute that is ruined, you don't get a second one.
Uh-uh.
You are who you are, and you are associated with that
the
reputation.
scary thing about that is, especially when it comes to sexual stuff, like a woman is allowed to be like, that guy did A, B, and C, and like as soon as that is said out loud, it's almost like you're fucked. Even if you're proven like innocent eventually,
Totally.
then people Google your name and it was like an accused sex offender or something, and they're like, what the fuck? Like
Right.
you're
Those
fucked.
words don't go away. You can Google
Yeah.
for the end of time. But like it also like what is this like court of our peers? That like is there like a real system for like finding out if this happened or didn't happen?
Is it Black Mirror? Like, is that
Yeah.
how we have to put chips in everyone's head
Well,
now?
now
so you can see
that
it?
article was saying, the article in Le Monde was saying, what are we coming to now? Where everyone has to sign on to an app before you go on a date and like check a box of what sexual things you want to do, and then that way now then you can be like, okay, well, I already like okayed this. It's like signing a disclaimer.
I
Like,
think that goes back to knowing what works for you before
Yes.
you go on the date and sticking to that.
and I think we need to pay attention to like our, like we're saying, like, is this helpful or hurtful? I think it's helpful. I think we all agree that this movement and this time right now is helpful, but it's could become hurtful in a way that like we're all bringing these things up, like it's getting people in trouble when maybe they shouldn't necessarily be, or maybe there's a lack of responsibility being taken on all fronts
Yeah.
of things.
Yeah.
Also, I think it also tends to go back to communication. Like, if you are comfortable with yourself and you say what you want, and you say what you're okay with, and you say you don't go to his house and then say no as he's making advances and then stay. Like, you leave.
Exactly.
And you can't assume someone knows what you mean. You have to make them know what you mean.
And I hope this is giving women voices, because I know just from all this coming up, I blocked out a lot that
Me too.
happened
Yeah, me
either
too.
in college or even first moving to LA. And it started making me run through things. And I was like, oh, holy shit.
Like, this
But-
has happened to me.
Yeah, but I didn't have that confidence or the voice or alcohol was it. Like, certain things happened. And so now I hope, if anything, this does give voice not to women to just out every single sexual
Right.
encounter, for them to have a voice when they're on a date, when they're in that situation.
Agreed.
That's what I hope this accomplishes.
I agree.
I do think it also sort of sets a precedence for men to have a little sense of fear, and they may
Sure.
go back to a little bit more of gentlemanly behavior, which you were saying it's not the 50s. People cannot just pick you up and know where you live, and now it's stranger danger. You can't know where
But
I live.
maybe
What if I
that's-
never want to talk to you again?
Maybe that's why this is all happening.
It's like
Because
resetting.
Maybe there was too much of a flip in the gender role, and now all of a sudden it's hold the fucking door. Maybe we need to
Exactly.
take a step back and go back a little to the old school style where shit wasn't fucking blurred. You belong, stay in your own lane, people.
And have respect for each other, because someone's parents might be watching.
As we swear up a storm.
Salute to that.
Salute to that.
Salute.
Okay, so now, Jaclyn,
Yes.
as we drink, we want to talk to you a little bit about okay, so you're a stand-up comedian, so amongst other things,
Yes.
and you're in a male-dominated industry, so I'm sure you've seen
I
some
am.
of this shit go down. You're like, really?
Really?
First of all, how did you get started doing what you do?
I randomly, it was a bucket list thing. I moved out to LA to act, and I was even working at the Laugh Factory for 2 years.
Wow.
And still then, it was the best training ground you could ever have without
Sure.
realizing it. I was there every single night and got to see all these comedians come up and work their shit out. And even then, I quit and just went on to acting more. And then right before I turned 30, I kept seeing Pretty Funny Women pop up.
Oh.
And I was like, I love Chelsea Handler.
Yep.
She's a Jersey girl. My parents went to the same high school. I know her brother, Roy. Shout out to Roy. He's a really
Hey.
good chef in Hawaii.
Holla.
Holla, Roy. And I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to take the class. And I ended up meeting a lot of my best friends now. This was 5 years ago. I just told everyone how old I am. I'm kidding. It was a bucket list thing when I was 25.
Yeah, she was so young. She was like a teenager, and she couldn't even
It's the
drink.
Jersey Jew. She can't do
Yeah.
math. It's fine.
It's fine. I think I was it was before I turned 30. Anyway, I took the class, and you had to do a showcase, and then you started just getting asked to do shows, and I just kept saying yes.
Yeah.
I'm not going to pretend that I quit for 6 months. I because it's nerve-wracking.
Oh, God.
Your first show is always amazing because you bring all your friends.
Yeah.
And then
And everyone claps and laughs.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh.
Yeah, they're like, you're doing it. You're doing the thing. And then you get real shows, and it's like, oh,
Real shit.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, not as many laughs.
No.
Did you watch The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel?
Yes, I did.
Did
And
you love it?
I did love it. Yeah, I do love it. I don't love, and I actually talked about this on my podcast today with Jade Catapretta, who's also a working stand-up comic. I don't love that she's not a stand-up comic in real life, and the girl in I'm Dying Up Here isn't a stand-up comic. I think they do a great job on the show, but I think there is something to having to go up every
Oh my
night
God.
and
Hell
work
yeah.
your material out, and you can't capture that without putting in the work, and that's something with comedy. You can't fake it,
No.
and that's hard.
Not like an orgasm, guys.
No. But you can still fake an orgasm, so keep doing that.
No, that's what I'm saying. You can't fake comedy
Right.
like you can fake an orgasm.
Exactly.
Actually, I really believe in not faking orgasms. I think you really need to teach people what they...
Have you ever
Oh,
done
yeah.
No.
I used to.
I
it?
won't.
Jen,
I won't.
you've never
No?
done it.
Nope, and I'll tell you why. I will not reinforce bad behavior. I will not.
I respect
You
that.
obviously
I'd rather
have.
I
them
did
feel
until I had
ashamed.
a real orgasm, and then I was like, oh, you can't fake that.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah.
if you're with a guy that knows what he's doing, he's knowing that you're faking.
Oh
I
my
think.
God.
Or
That's
they don't even
hysterical.
care because they're
Or
like,
they
good,
don't
it's
care.
over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I go to
God.
sleep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
now I can do my
Oh,
thing.
you idiots.
Yay. Yeah. Oh, they're so.
Anyway, so going back to this male-dominated industry you work in,
Yeah.
have you felt like any sort of like change or shift based on like the Louis C.K. thing that came out and like people are being outed? Like, is anyone like sort of like using kid gloves now around you?
No, because everyone in the industry knows about, like, way before all the Louis C.K. stuff came out. Like, it was just kind of a known thing.
Yeah.
So this is something that, like, years ago we were like, oh, that's the worst or that sucks and that's shitty. But it kind of, I don't know. It hasn't really affected me.
Okay.
I haven't found that male comics have started treating me differently. I haven't found that bookers are different. I think maybe audience-wise, you get embraced a little more.
Okay.
Yeah.
They want to see you win.
Yeah. I'm kind of sick of hearing and I love a lot of these comics that are female, the joke of, oh man, Louis C.K. didn't try to jerk off against me. What, am I not hot enough? Like, I think that's so hacky and I'm sick.
Yeah.
It's like a cheap joke.
Yeah.
It's so easy.
If you were gonna like make a more clever joke about what's going on right now, like, do you ever touch on that, or do you just leave it alone? Do you? I mean, that is a cheap, not smart joke.
I just don't, I don't know. I haven't, to be honest, touched on the subject in my comedy because it hasn't affected me personally. And I find the more stuff I talk about personally, the more it resonates with the audience. Like,
Right.
the more
Do you talk about your relationship that you're in?
I've tried. It's very hard when you get up on stage and you're like, so I have a boyfriend. Everyone's like, go fuck yourself.
Yeah, you're like,
Like,
great.
we're not here
Yeah.
for that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because the guys are like, oh, damn it, and the girls are like, I'm single, fuck you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like to relate
But
to
I mean,
the
there's
girls.
funny things that you
Oh,
could
there's-
talk about with, like, even if you're in a relationship.
Very embarrassing story, and he has not seen me do it live yet. That involves a mouthful of like a tube of toothpaste and me thinking that was sexy to go down on him with.
Because it's minty.
Yes, because
'Cause
I
you
was
were
like,
trying
oh,
to, like-
Altoids.
You were trying to make a
Yeah,
effervescent thing.
I was like, ooh, this was right when we were first really starting to get to know each other in the bedroom. I've learned.
And
from
you-
now. Don't recommend that to
Wait,
anyone.
what? Have you guys seen the grapefruit girl?
Oh, Tiffany Haddish.
I don't know.
Oh, yeah, she's
Yeah,
amazing. I
girl
just saw
trip.
her
Wait,
live.
the black chick with the
Yeah,
grapefruit?
Tiffany.
I don't know her fucking name.
Yeah,
I
it's
just
from the
saw
movie.
it for the first time.
Girls Trip. Yeah, that's a real story. She's really done that.
No. She has a YouTube how-to video
Yeah.
with the grapefruit.
Yeah.
And
Well,
how to give it's like a blowjob
Right,
with
she
the
does it
grapefruit.
in the movie The Guilt Trip.
Yeah,
Or, I mean,
Girls
not, what is it? Not Guilt Trip. Girls
It's
Trip.
the- yeah.
And
You guys.
it's from the movie.
Yeah.
I mean, I would maybe think a mouthful of toothpaste would be better than the grapefruit.
Right?
Because it would sting.
You're like,
Ouch.
I didn't think stinging. I thought like fresh and cool and like new.
And
sort
what
of
went wrong?
sensation.
It was bad?
It almost like stung
Exfoliated
his thing off, and he was
just
gone for a while.
disintegrated.
Yeah, and I had so much pride though. After he was like in the bathroom for half an hour trying to like rinse off, he comes back and he's like, "Have you done that to anyone before?" And I was like, "Yeah, everyone loves it."
No, you did not.
Yeah, because I'm an asshole.
No. Oh my
Sorry,
I feel like that's
God.
a really
Then he
sweet-
was like, something's wrong.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a better
Just
way to
mind
wrap it
fuck
around.
them.
Be like, hello.
Yeah.
This is very
What?
trending.
Nobody's ever done that to
This
you
is
before?
like the latest drug. What?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That's
Isn't that
good.
awful?
Like, fuck with them. Be like, actually, I went on a date with a guy, and he is a certain age, and I said to him, I was like, I really date older than you, so I don't really know that this
He was
is going to
probably
work.
like-
He's like, will our two astrological signs work out? I'm like, probably not.
Oh.
He's like, no one's ever said that to me before. I'm like, well, I don't
You're
think
like,
it's going to work
well,
out.
now that you've mentioned astrology, it's definitely not gonna
Now,
work
and
out.
now that you're like, go back to fucking your man
Yeah.
bun in Eagle Rock.
It was actually like kind of cute because I was like shutting things down, and he was like, "That's weird. Why did it just happened?" And I was like, "Oh, moving on to the next conversation."
But did you like him though?
I did.
Oh,
Jennifer Golden.
well, that's like
but
old
our
school
signs
flirting.
don't go together.
That's
See,
okay.
that
I was
is-
honest.
There we
Yeah.
go. That is why it's fucking confusing because you're like, I don't like you. You're an idiot. I want to have sex with you.
Yeah.
Like that's why guys are like trying to. Okay, come up to my house for a drink. That means we want to have sex. Like it's like that.
Well,
I'm
listen,
just saying.
I'm like, yeah, no, our signs are probably not going to go well together, but yeah, we could totally go out again and see if it's wrong.
I say if you're into it or like not sure, wishy-washy, try anything twice. You might like it better. The
Totally.
second time.
This was actually a third.
Yeah.
The first everything is weird.
Yeah.
Oh,
sometimes.
it's so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Just life at first.
But it's fun
is
to laugh
weird.
at later on.
Oh my
Totally,
God,
and
yeah.
make a comedy routine.
Yeah.
Okay, really fast. We have exactly no time.
Oh, no.
But no, we're gonna do quickly our game, right?
Yeah, no, we can't. But hold on, wait. Oh, I think we have. a
I'm
little
so
more-
confused with how much time do we have, Steve?
Yeah, no, I think
Oh,
we're good.
what?
I think
I
we're
thought
good.
that
No,
Oh,
Jen,
great. Never
Jen,
mind.
Jen,
Good.
math is usually her strong point.
got
but
scared.
for some reason she's
Well,
not
before
there
this,
today.
Lauren, I saw it says 5 minutes, and now it's at 18. I was like,
Guys,
is it 18 seconds?
Not only do we talk and drink our drink and have fun with our girls. But we have a whole production happening here that you don't know behind the scenes, and we have to pay attention to all the things. We've got a producer in our ear. We've got numbers and things everywhere. Hey, listen, it's smoke and mirrors, guys.
Yeah.
We're doing this little monkey dance.
I mean, I'm not doing a whole lot. I'm
You're
just
We are. Okay, it's not brain surgery.
I'm just
okay?
watching the TV that says now it's 17 minutes and 49 seconds.
Okay, so we want to know, like, if someone is trying to get into this, like, line of work,
Oh, okay.
what is your advice to
Like
someone?
me.
Because, like, I honestly think stand-up comedy is, like, the most terrifying thing you could possibly ever do. And I don't think that anybody would disagree with me.
Not me. I don't think it's terrifying, but I don't want to write anything because I would be more worried that what I wrote
Well,
was
like,
dumb.
what
That's
do you,
the
how do
scariest
you,
part.
yeah, like, what's your advice for...
For me, I think the scariest part was normally when you're acting, you have a script.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so you're out
Did you notice
there,
that?
you're putting your like emotions and stuff on the stage, but it's written by someone else. So if it doesn't go over well or
You
falls
blame the
flat,
writer.
yeah,
Totally.
not your
Yeah.
fault.
Yeah.
But
Thank you.
it's really scary to expose the weird shit that goes on in your head.
It's like a songwriter, kind of. Like,
Yeah.
they say that, too.
Yeah, but
It's
except
different.
with a songwriter, at least you can hide your weird lyrics under a beat.
Yeah.
With comedy,
Yeah.
literally there's silence unless someone heckles you.
Exactly.
Right.
But I would say it's really cool to just start going to open mics and you'll end up meeting people or join a class. I mean, I don't know. Some comics don't say, like, join a class that helps you joke, right? But that's how you kind of find your tribe.
Sure.
Like, it's easier to go to an open mic if you have some friends to go with.
Yeah.
So definitely try to make friends within the comedy community. Also, you have to hang out and put in the time at comedy clubs. Just keep showing up. It becomes
Say
like a
yes.
job. Yes.
Yes,
It's
say
a lot
go.
of just going, saying yes, and not getting paid for anything. So
Yep.
you really have to love it. Put yourself out there. Watch as much comedy as you possibly can, but also make sure you're doing it. Like, you have to get up.
So where do you start? Like, you were saying something about this tree and like you write branches and more stories, but like, where do you stop?
And you
Yeah.
personally are the type, and I think a lot of comics do this, but not always, like, you take from a real life situation that works for you. I think a
Yeah.
lot of comics will say this too, like, I really do talk about my real life, but then I totally exaggerate.
I exaggerate, too.
Of course you do, because that's part of what makes the story
For the comedic
story.
element.
I feel
Yeah.
like I'm getting so dirty with you guys,
No,
but like
do
I
it.
have a good example.
Yeah, dude,
More
we need
toothpaste?
it.
This is literally, I was sitting, like, this must have been a year or two ago. I was sitting on the couch with my dad watching, what's the movie with Shailene?
Shailene Woodley,
Yeah.
pick
the
one.
sad one.
Hunger Games,
Nope, that's Jennifer Lawrence.
Divergent.
Yes, Divergent. And I
Oh,
found the lead actor to be, like, hot. And I was sitting with my dad, like, watching it. And I was like, this is so weird that I'm getting turned on. And we were, like, at home.
Yeah.
And, like, I was like, oh, my dad's sitting next to me. Like,
Yeah.
I can't think a guy's hot. I've now turned that joke into, like, it's so awkward, like, being home for the holidays and masturbating at your parents' house after 30.
Yes!
Like, that's kind of, and I haven't
Right.
done that. I then go into bringing home, like, a dildo and him, like, finding it. None of that happened.
None of that happens.
But
it's the thought.
Right,
that
yeah.
sprung from that moment on the couch.
Exactly.
Like what would be
what
super
if
awkward?
that-
Oh, that
Yeah.
that would be weird.
And then, like, a joke about, like, when a sex scene comes on the TV
Yeah.
and you're sitting with your parents, even though you're in your
Wait,
30s.
that happens though. Still, I
Yeah.
have sat
So
and watched.
And that's
so
we
weird.
would
Like-
laugh at that, and you're like, "Did you redecorate? I'm hungry. Are you hungry?"
Like you bait and switch it so hard, but it's like the fucking elephant in the room is someone doing sex with someone else on your screen.
It's
That's
so
loud.
weird. It's
and you,
so, yeah.
and you have to you're like, well, maybe we shouldn't call it out. We're all adults.
No,
And
you know
then
what's
you're,
the most awkward
also
one?
like, you guys did that. That's why I'm here.
Yeah.
So
No, you know what's the
funny.
most awkward movie ever to watch with anybody because you forget it's like a family movie, but then it has a random.
Eyes wide shut.
No,
I love
Love
that
fucking
movie.
Actually with the two stand-in porn people, and like it goes from like love in every part of everyone's life to like this random porn couple,
Ugh.
and you're like,
Ugh.
I don't know how to. What do
I
do I
watched-
make cookies during this time? Like,
My
what do I do?
my brother was like, "Oh, The Town is such a good movie. The Town is such a good movie." And my mom was like, okay. So my brother and my mom and I watched it. And there's a weird Blake Lively, Ben Affleck sex scene. And we're all like,
God damn it.
Chloe, why'd you? This is weird.
Like, why are we in this situation?
It's so awkward.
So awkward.
But
Yeah.
you also, like, when you're writing jokes, that's awkward situations, stuff, the most embarrassing moments you've ever had. My mom isn't like slapstick funny where like she's joke. She's just funny because she's insanely neurotic.
Oh my God.
And so I have so many jokes about her.
Is that an Italian thing? I feel like your mom and I are friends already.
Well, my mom is more like Stepford housewife with like a truck driver's mouth.
I mean, it's kind of me. Like every time I have a party with my boyfriend, I'm like, I baked cookies. Like, who the fuck is that? But I'm like that girl, legit. And then I'm also like, where's my fucking wine? And with the I feel it's like an Italian thing.
It's an Italian thing. And I have a joke about, see, this comes back to the dating, which makes it more relatable to be like, yeah, I have a boyfriend, but like when my mom first met him, she's like, do you want to go away with us this weekend? Do you want to go like for a steak dinner? I'll give you a blowjob, like whatever you want, like just like Jaclyn. And I'm like, stop being so thirsty. Act like we've been here before.
Yes, stop it. Oh my God.
So like, and that she's never said those words.
Of course not.
Never. Like she's this amazing, the most like perfect put together, but like she throws a good F-bomb like no one else.
Yes, I love it. Are your parents still together?
They are.
Really?
Yeah.
How long have they been married?
It'll be 40 years next
Holy
year.
mother of
Oh my God,
Christ.
that is like gotta be a role model situation for
Do
you.
you feel pressure?
God, I don't. It's so funny because I have these old Italian and like Jewish aunts. Even though I'm not Jewish, I still call them aunts.
That's fine. They're all the same.
And they literally will like pull me aside at family parties. Again, main squeeze if you're watching, not trying to get this, but they're like, get the fucking ring.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, calm down. Like that's not the point of this.
I mean, it might be
It might at some point.
Right, like at some point, diamonds are nice.
They're great.
My friend I am at her house often, and we're all very good friends, and my boyfriend and I were there, and the housekeeper came through today. She knows all of us, and she is fucking hysterical. She's like Rosario from Will and Grace.
Okay,
she just
stop bragging.
says whatever right? It's not my friends. It's not mine. It's my friend. And she's like, oh, hi, to both of me and my boyfriend. And then she goes, looks at me in front of him. You not married yet? And I'm like, I look right at him, and she goes, I go, I don't know, ask him. And she goes, what's the problem? Like, looks right at him, like, called him out on it. This is real. Like,
I love that.
Oh,
Wait,
my
I
God.
also like that you kind of give her like a nail lady accent.
No, and then she proceeded to be like, okay. And he's like, sorry, she wants a really big diamond, no dinero. And she goes, Swarovski, and walks away.
Oh my God. Is she a comic?
She should be.
She should
She
be.
asked my girlfriend and I one time, like 3 years ago. She goes, oh, we walked into the room, and she's like, oh, Sarah, you have boyfriend? Lauren, you have a boyfriend? And we're like, no. And she goes, lesbians?
No,
I'm
that's
like, no. I mean, she's like one of those people that
love
just,
that.
this is the thing, is I think with comedy, or like that's what's funny, if you just say it how it is. Like if you just go, say what you're thinking, because if you're talking about an awkward moment, which might be like the seed of your joke, don't be afraid to just say it how it is, because there's so many people who can relate. Like that is,
or who wish they could say that thing.
or who wish they could say it.
Yeah.
Unless you're the president, don't say the
Don't
things
say
you're
it.
saying.
Don't
No.
tweet it. For me, I did have a really hard time for a while, and I think I hid behind acting and doing stuff like hosting or whatever, because I couldn't voice my opinion, and I couldn't voice like the weird shit that went through my brain. And it took me a while, and I'm still learning with stand-up to really be ugly. And I think that's something that is really hard for a lot of us, because we're like out here, and like before we started, I was like, girls, oh my God, your hair's so perfect. And like I was assessing my own self, like looking at you, and I'm like,
There's a pressure for that.
And now there's this whole movement of, I know so many hilarious female comics, well, some that are like also really hot and gorgeous, but I don't know. There is a thing that there's a fine line.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like to go out on stage in a dress, but I was wearing like Adidas sneakers and like a bomber jacket, and I at one point was like, screw that. That's not what I'm comfortable
You don't have to
with.
be masculine to be a girl in comedy.
I like jeans. I like my heeled boots. I like to feel grounded, but still like boom.
Yeah, well, it's also, you just have to embrace what works for you.
Exactly.
Right. And who you are, too. Like,
Dating, when a guy invites you back to his fucking apartment, be who you are. When you're on stage, you're trying to stand up, be who you are. If you're telling a story,
I'm not saying like crop dust in his apartment. Like,
well, maybe not that.
Yeah, wait.
I mean, listen, give it a
At
set.
least wait till he does it.
Yes.
But I think it's like relatable to anybody on a date or on a stage or whatever when you just say within reason what you're really thinking. And then there's no room for blurred lines or, oh, you wanted it or didn't, or I don't know if I like you or don't like.
Oh, I think that's so, like right now, not to get like real, but like I'm having issues with certain friends.
Yeah.
Because we're just not talking.
And why do you think that is?
And it's just no one's saying anything, and we're all just kind of like.
But
pretending.
what's the root of the problem? Do you think?
I don't even know. It's like so
Diluted at this point.
Yeah, and that's what sucks because probably months ago someone didn't say something, someone didn't really speak their truth, something, and I'm probably at fault. Everyone's at fault.
Sure.
But I think the more you speak your mind and get through the shit. Like, you got to feel kind of like, oh, this sucks, but then you're fine.
The root of the problem then is a lack of communication or somebody not being able to speak their mind because now everyone's probably pushing back.
And also probably building resentment because
exactly.
you just pile that shit on.
Resentment is a scary thing.
Oh, my God.
It comes out of nowhere. All of a sudden, you're like, I fucking hate you. What?
You, like, hate, like, a picture on Instagram.
Yeah.
You're like, fuck you.
I'm
fuck
not liking this photo.
And it's so
you carry
stupid.
it with you, and it's almost like...
And then it's
that's
so
where
heavy.
people like explode.
Yeah.
But I mean, people just need to communicate. I don't know what happened to the fucking society where they like didn't do that or like thought it
it's
was
everyone
like
on their phones.
Everyone
not
on their phones.
really
well, but even
saying
before
anything.
this, like people like at the dinner table in the 50s, no one talked about anything. Like,
True. We call it wasp it away in our family.
oh, that's so good.
Yeah.
That's
My God.
really good thing. Okay, so you clearly are good at talking and stuff. So is that why you started a podcast?
Yes. Talk about your podcast really quick before we
Oh.
play our cute game.
Cool.
Because now we actually do have 6 minutes and 38 seconds.
Got it. I had done a bunch of my friends' podcasts, Adderall and Compliments, Straight Up Astasi, Be Here for a While, and mostly sports. And people just encouraged me to do it, and I wanted my own thing. I'd always worked with other females, and I'd always collaborated on stuff. And I kind of was like, I need something that's my brand, and that's me, that I can talk about what I want to talk about. And I have a dad and a brother who love sports, grew up with sports. I know.
Who's your team?
New York Giants.
But you're from Jersey.
Sorry.
Yeah,
the
this
hell?
year's been rough. New York Rangers, New York Knicks. Actually, no, I'm more like LA. I've been here for 10 years.
So now you've...
I like the Dodgers
Okay.
too, like what Yankees,
Okay.
whatever. And I found that I have a section called Just Enough with Jaclyn where I break down just enough sports so anyone can talk sports with their boyfriend. Guys can talk some sports with like funny anecdotes. I compare it to reality show storylines.
Love it.
You know, like random just things that are funny, and I talk about celebrities dating athletes or like just random shit. And
You make it real.
I spark
It's like a
conversation.
tidbit that you can just drop in and be like, I know stuff.
Yeah, but also the coolest thing about it is finding out where someone's from and what they were like as a kid and how they got to where they are. And it's been so helpful for me. Every single successful person I've had, professional athletes, actors, comedians, producers, casting directors, journalists, like bloggers, every single thing was they just went with something that they kept getting yeses from.
Yeah.
So
Pay attention to it.
necessarily what they wanted.
Yep.
Right. It was
You know?
what they're...
You didn't move here to be a stand-up comedian.
No.
I didn't think I was going to be
No.
like hosting a podcast.
No.
Yeah.
No
So-
chance. I mean, I
But you
don't
pay-
think this was in existence because technology, but
Also,
you know,
you just pay attention to all of a sudden, like, that seems easy.
Yeah.
right. And like people keep saying, "Oh, do you want to do this here? Do you want to do this? You guys should do that together because you guys are great together." Or you should also
You have
like
to listen to that.
Right.
You have to
and
listen.
It's hard
Yep.
because I've been very hard-headed, and like this year I'm kind of going more in the direction of acting because I'm like that. I keep getting good feedback, and that's what.
So then pay attention to it.
yeah. So
Yeah.
it's just pay attention.
And
to
you
the
don't know,
signals.
too, because maybe this point in your life, you needed to get up on a stage and do that to be better at what you're now going
to
to
being
do.
more like truthful.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's cool, and it's an excuse to drink wine and eat meatballs during the day with
Oh,
friends.
my
yeah,
God.
how
And
I-
you're always welcome to come here and drink wine. And you're in a
Totally.
relationship.
Yes.
And that's all good. You're with another fucking East Coast Italian. Why are you like congregating together?
It's happening, but we had to meet in LA. Like,
I know. How weird is that? And
It's-
are you from somewhere close?
Yes.
Yeah, I think I knew that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His childhood house is literally 2 minutes from where my
Shut
parents
the
live.
Of course
Fuck
it is, because
up.
that's how it all happens. Speaking of 2
Jaclyn.
minutes, we have 3 minutes and
Yes,
54
we're gonna play.
seconds.
We're gonna
So
play a
good.
quick game with you, okay?
Great.
How about this?
Yeah.
Hey, where are you from? You hear that
Jersey.
question a lot, right? You're out on a date, especially in LA, because everyone's a transplant here. And then when you're in Jersey, people are like, they don't say where are you from, they say what exit do you live on. So you've heard both, and you're a perfect example of an LA transplant. And so we're going to ask you, we want to know if you can pick these stars out that are from Jersey if we give you clues. Other than like the obvious, the Boss and John Bon Jovi, like
we're
we're going to
not
give
even
you
going there.
clues to see if you know your Jersey.
Oh my God, I love
In
it.
a game that we
Do you
like
have
to
alcohol?
call.
I do.
Okay, well, this
I
is
do.
time
Yeah.
to drink, because if you get it wrong, you drink. If you get it right, you also drink.
This is our game
Perfect.
called We Like the Jersey Turnpike. We're going to give you a hint, and you got to guess the star. Ready?
Yeah.
And the Oscar always goes to this 20-time Academy Award nominee.
Meryl Streep.
Yep.
That was too easy. Okay, this guy keeps Scientology staying alive.
John Travolta.
Yes. He might have been a famous Yankee, but his roots are in Jersey.
Oh. Derek Jeter?
Yes.
I mean, yeah, Derek Jeter.
Yeah.
He may not have been the first to moonwalk, but he followed in Neil Armstrong's footsteps.
Oh, God, I'm bad with things that are science. oh,
Drink
God.
your drink.
No.
Drink your juice,
Who is
Shelby.
it?
Buzz Aldrin.
Aldrin.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
He was on Dancing with the Stars, that's why.
Alexander Hamilton.
That's why he's famous.
Alexander Hamilton took care of this guy.
No.
Sorry.
is it?
Aaron Burr.
Well, actually,
Drink.
I definitely
Aaron
wouldn't
Burr
have gotten
killed
Well, yeah,
Alexander Hamilton.
He did. Actually,
Oh,
he did.
took care of
Incorrect.
a-hole.
Sorry.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, got it.
Anyway.
Okay.
All right.
Oh.
If he didn't disappear all the time, you could find the escape artist in Jersey.
The escape artist. The escape artist. Oh, God. The escape artist.
Or he's an illusionist. I'll give you.
oh,
Sure.
David Blaine?
It's sort of.
Adjacent. Oh,
David
God.
Copperfield.
Yeah.
Damn
drink your
it.
Okay, one
drink.
more. UNITY is the anthem for
Queen
this.
Latifah! She lives in Red Bank, New
Yes.
Jersey.
Yes. Okay. Thank you for
Is that
playing.
your favorite New
Yes.
Jersey person? Because you were so excited.
Hey, it's
I was
fucking
just
Queen Latifah.
Excited
She
to get
is.
one right.
Listen,
Yes.
she was in Girls Trip, and she's the one person I could
Oh
have
my
done
God, we
without.
keep coming back to
I
this
know, she's
movie,
the
which
one
I
person.
clearly
Yeah.
need to see.
Oh, it's so good.
You should. They're making a second one, I think.
Wait, can we do one more?
Oh, okay,
Just
do-
because
do
this
another.
last one's
Okay.
just so good. And
Okay.
he did it his way, so I think we should.
Oh, well, now you
Aw,
just gave it
Frank
away.
Sinatra?
You didn't even have to. Okay, how about this one? I got one. This stand-up girl might be your idol lately. She's
Oh,
ours,
Chelsea
too. You already
Handler.
said
You
this,
gave it
though.
away.
I know.
She's-
Wait, you're not going to get this one. I'm going to get, we have a list on here. We're like, we're not going to use all these. Oh, yes, we are.
We were so fast at reading.
Okay, I know. It's Jason Greenspan is his real name. And
Oh, I
he
knew
was
this
on a
one.
hit sitcom in the 90s.
Jason Green. Jason Green's. No. Jason Bateman?
No?
No. Jason Greenspan.
Huge sitcom in
One
the
more.
90s.
Can I phone a friend?
Yeah. You wanna, we're your
One more
friends,
clue,
but we
one more
created this
clue.
game.
Oh
Huge
my
sitcom
God, I
in the
can't-
90s. Oh,
his name-
Jason
Yes.
Alexander.
Yes!
Yes.
Okay,
he
we'll
went to
go
my
out-
parents' high school. He went to Livingston High.
We'll go out with a bang. Okay, remind everyone where they can listen to your podcast and where they can find you.
Hello, everyone out there.
The more you know.
Done listening to It's Complicated. Tune into What's Your Jersey podcast on iTunes and Audio Boom. I call my listeners meatballs. You can write into me at whatsyourjerseypodcast@gmail.com. I am hosting a comedy show this Thursday at the Garage in Culver City, and I post on my social media at Jaclyn Marfuggi, all my other shows. And that's it.
That's everything. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
That's so many things,
Oh, and I
guys.
teach classes. You can
Oh
post
yeah.
about-
Work out with her if you're in LA.
Yeah.
You do it
plyo gym
all. All the
classes.
things.
I'm going to them.
Same Z's.
Okay, and don't forget to tune in next week for our guest, Pamela Rocco, the creator of Bashery & Co. And don't forget to follow us on social media at Complicated Show. Jen, where can everyone find you?
You guys can find me at Jennifer Golden on all of the social media platforms, including my website, jennifergolden.com.
Oh my God,
and
wow.
Google.com.
Yes, and all the things. And you can find me at Laura Leonelli on all of the things as well. Jaclyn, thank you so much. I now want a meatball really, really badly.
I would
And-
like a turkey meatball.
Yeah, I want all of the, I want the pork meatball with a C.
A C, pork
With a
avec moi.
Okay. Thank you guys so much. And we will see you next week.
Love you long time.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.